Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Yes, we are actually sat in my War Thunder hangar. It's been a while, I know. Before we begin with this video, you'll have to excuse my bearded dragon. He's currently looking at me as if he knows that he's done something wrong. He may be doing that during this video. I know I apologise every time I have a video and he's making noise in the background, but I can't move my PS4, I can't move him, and I can't make him stop, so I'm afraid you're just going to have to try to ignore it. As you can probably guess by the title of this video, we are going to be talking about the potential death of War Thunder. Now, this thought process is not my own. I'm simply going to be talking about and expanding on somebody else's, Ash, who has been a War Thunder YouTuber for quite a while, but in recent months he's began to diverge his content, much like I do, although I only really split my content between Dirt Rally 2.0 and War Thunder, because Dirt Rally is something I can just stick on when I come home from work. It's mindless. I don't even have to record sound. Well, I don't have to record a voiceover. I can just play for fun. If I have a good stage, I hit save the recording, post it up on YouTube just as something for you guys to watch. But in this particular case, you can't do that with War Thunder, so I sort of jump back and forth as and when. I've been paying so little attention to War Thunder recently that it actually completely escaped my mind that the patch had actually come out. Patch 1.91 is out, which is what we're going to be talking about quite a lot today, as well as the addition of the Chinese tech tree, which initially I completely missed it. I was looking for it and saw USSR and thought, oh, well, the patch hasn't come out yet. But no, it's there. We're going to be talking about the Chinese tech tree. We're not really going to be talking about the other bits of this patch, for example, the night vision and infrared and all that stuff, because it's not relevant to the subject matter that I'm going to be talking about today. So yeah, that's a pretty bold statement to say that War Thunder may be on its last legs, so that's something I'm definitely going to have to talk about in more detail. Why would I think this? Well, essentially, for a game to survive, you have to add new content, which is what War Thunder does. Every several months they release a patch. Most recently it's been ships and boats, modern main battle tanks, or at least more modern main battle tanks, helicopters, and now China and infrared and night vision sights for vehicles. This is all great. The problem is that the community has been talking about fix the game. There are a lot of problems in this game that is only personified and made worse by some of these additions. For example, War Thunder has recently added more top tier rank 7 jets. Now, or rank 6 jets in most cases. Now, for this example, we're going to be looking at the J-72. This is essentially the Chinese MiG-21. This is actually better than the Soviet version of this aircraft that we have in game, because it has another cannon. In the grand scheme of things, having an additional extra 60 shots and another cannon, another 30mm cannon I might add, doesn't really do you much good, because at the end of the day it's an extra 60 rounds and you're not actually getting those into you're not getting an extra 60 rounds for your weapon, you're actually just getting another gun, really. You don't lose anything, to be fair, but then you don't really gain anything either. Maybe burst mass. Ooh. I've been playing the first tier of Chinese aircraft for when I can actually buy the premium, but I digress. Yeah, this is the one aircraft that I was actually quite looking forward to seeing. This aircraft is capable of damn near Mach 2. Stock, it does 2,234 kilometers an hour at 13,000 meters. These aircraft are insane. It's a late 70s, 80s Soviet or Eastern Bloc jet fighter. They're awesome. I love my MiGs. I love all that sort of thing. But the problem is the maps in the game are horrifically outdated. Now, yeah, you can say, oh, we got Afghanistan. Afghanistan is not big enough if you're traveling at nearly Mach 2. It just isn't. So that's one thing to bear in mind. And people keep saying, fix the matchmaking, fix this, fix that, decompress the game. But, and then they think it's as simple as stop adding things, just decompress the game. That is not possible, because as soon as War Thunder, or rather as soon as Gaijin stops adding content, the game is dead. Period. There's nothing stopping it from dying at that point. It just dies, because people need something to do. And the game has been out for so long at this stage, most people, such as myself, have ground out quite a lot of the vehicles that they want to play. So they need to have more things to do, more things to unlock, more things to pay for, possibly, you know, to keep them busy, to keep them preoccupied, to dangle the carrot in front of their face and say, here is more content for your game. However, there is one thing in particular that's going to upset an awful lot of people, and that is actually an American aircraft. Would you like to guess which aircraft I'm talking about? You are probably correct, but we are on Aviation Red. Why have you gone back? There we go. I now have to find it. I imagine it's going to be in the attacker tech tree. It might be a fighter tech tree, actually, because it is classed as a fighter in this game. Where is it? There it is, the F4 Phantom. This aircraft is capable, I believe, of Mach 2, more or less. Gorgeous aircraft. And mostly they were flown during the Vietnam War in the 60s and 70s. But they weren't flown as fighters, even though this aircraft is designated as a fighter. And it wasn't flown as a fighter because of the ordnance that was available for it. This aircraft does not get a weapon, or at least a cannon, stock. However, that is available as a modification, as an armament for this aircraft. You get a gun pod with the SU 23mm, I assume that's 23mm, SW-23/A, AIM 9B Sidewinder missiles, and then it gets more and more interesting. Installation of 250-pound bombs, installation of 500-pound bombs, 750-pound bombs, 1,000-pound bombs, bullpup missiles, bullpup guided rockets, for Christ's sake. And the best bit is, of all of this, you can get combinations of these weapons systems. So essentially, what this allows you to do, 3 cannons for a little bit of close quarter air-to-air work, or we can have 1 cannon and 18 250-pound bombs, 1 cannon and 18 500-pound bombs, 1 cannon and 12 750-pound bombs, 1 cannon and 8 1,000-pound bombs. The armament on this aircraft is better than any bomber in the game. The amount of ordnance you can carry, 3 aircraft, 3 players flying the F4 Phantom with the max loadout you can get, which is missiles, bombs, etc. 3 players bombing out the 3 bases in air realistic, and then going for the base, assuming of course that they all survive and don't get shot down and have a chance to rearm themselves. This is unbelievable. Imagine this in top tier ground realistic. As if ground realistic isn't bad enough, we're now going to have fighter aircraft in the game that are better than heavy bombers in the sense of the ordnance that they can carry. This is just absolutely fucking unbelievable. And people wonder why the game is running out of steam. Things like this, they might get fixed. Might. But for Gaijin, at this stage, it's more about running out the clock, seeing how much they can get out of what's left of this game. And I know that's going to hurt to hear, but I adore War Thunder. I've been playing the game for probably getting near to 6 years now. I started off on PC, flying aircraft, before ground forces were even a thing. Once ground forces come out, I tried that. My PC was shit, so when I bought a PS4, I downloaded the game on PS4, and I've been playing on PS4 ever since. I absolutely adore this game. And that is why I keep coming back to it, no matter how frustrated I get, no matter how pissed off I get, no matter how much I get sick of bullshit deaths in the game. Not hackers, I'm not even going to touch that subject, that's irrelevant. But no matter how depressing and anxiety creating I find this game, I keep coming back to it. Because the way I see it, I've put too much time and money into this game over the last few years to not come back to it, at least occasionally. And that also explains why I will be buying the Chinese premium MiG, because I want to get to top tier as quickly as possible. And for those of you who are unaware, I won't be able to grind out the MiG-21 on the Russian tech tree, and why would I? The Chinese one is better, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. And then I can moan and rant about top tier aircraft battles, because the compression at the top tier aircraft battles is just unbelievable. This aircraft will ruin top tier aircraft battles until it is rebalanced. I can assure you of that. It might not be as fast as some of them, it might not be as manoeuvrable as some of them, but it is a fighter with a ordnance load better than any heavy bomber in the game. And I don't have to check, because, I mean, fucking look at this. There is no way on the... You can carry air-to-air missiles, bombs, and rockets on the same aircraft at the same time. Why would you fly anything else at top tier? If you have this aircraft, this is what you're going to be flying. And don't even try and tell me that the repair cost will balance it out, because I can assure you it will not. This aircraft costs... and now I've lost it, costs 10,810 lions to replace. Stock. I think when it's fully upgraded, it's around 14,000. Originally, this aircraft had a repair cost of over 100,000 lions on the dev server. Why on earth would they change it? And that's quite simple. Because in order to find these new vehicles attractive, you have to get people to want to play them, and the only way they will want to play them is if they're worth playing or if they're rewarding to play, which is exactly what this aircraft is. People are going to look at that, think of all the trolley deaths and kills that they can get in it, grind it out, because they probably grind out a hell of a lot more than the American air tech trees than I have. They'll grind it out and they'll curb stomp people with it for the fun, and as soon as it gets fixed, quote unquote, rebalanced, they'll just go and get something else. Right, now let's have a proper look at the Chinese tech tree, which is kind of a yes and no thing for me in terms of the death nail of the game. And this is one of the problems we're going to run into when they start adding more nations to the game, or at least at lower tiers. As you can see, Chinese air is made up of aircraft from other nations or copies of said aircraft. So the J2 is a MiG-15, the J4 is a MiG-15, the J6A is a MiG-19, actually no, hang on, that's probably a MiG-15, that's a MiG-17, that's a MiG-19, and the J72 is a MiG-21, as we've already discussed. Then we have the F4G21RE, taken from, if I'm not mistaken, the Italian tech tree, but is actually a American jet fighter. Then we have the H5, a copy of the Tupolev Soviet jet bomber. The MiG-9, literally a copy and paste MiG from the Soviet tech tree. Now, this is not something that's going to be unusual to most people. As I said, this is something we're going to have to learn to live with, because at the end of the day, even apart from very modern tanks and stuff like that, the Chinese use foreign equipment. So do the North Koreans, so do the South Koreans, so does Vietnam, so does half of the countries in Asia. They all use vehicles that are either based off of or replicas of copies of foreign equipment, because it's better than what they could design, or could design at the time anyway. That's why I said that modern Chinese jet fighters, modern Chinese tanks are their own designs. But up until fairly recently, I'd say what the 70s, 80s, maybe the 90s, depending on where we're looking at specifically, they used other vehicles. This is something that would be the case for Sweden if Sweden was ever added, but the Swedes have a very unique tank design, like the ones that move around on hydraulic suspension, that you'd look forward to at top tier. And that is my argument with the Chinese tech tree and why I'm going to be grinding it, because eventually, this is more so the case of the ground forces, I have to admit, but eventually you're going to start getting more modern tanks. I don't necessarily believe that Gaijin are going the right way about this, but as I said at the very beginning of this video, they have to add more content, because otherwise the game will just die straight away. Just die. Now, I'm more than happy to hear your opinions in the comments on this. Please keep it civil. I'm more than happy to discuss things with you. I know I haven't been particularly centered in this video, but just to wrap up, my reasons for believing that the game is close to, stagnating. Currently, the player base is around 60,000 players. That's nothing. absolutely nothing. As we can see, there are currently 62,000 people online. That's worldwide, by the way, because I've got all of the servers on, or at least I should. I think I do. Oh, I've lost it, but whatever. 60,000 players, nowhere near enough. The tech trees from now on are more or less going to be copy and paste, and they're going to continue adding more modern vehicles, which will continue to break the game, continue to upset people. They will not fix it, because if they take the time to fix it, they're taking time away from adding stuff, and as soon as they stop adding things to the game is done, or will begin to be on that path anyway. Like I said, let me know what you think about this, guys, in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts on the way War Thunder is headed? What would you like to see changed? Yeah, let me know in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoy your morning, your afternoon, your evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next War Thunder video. Cheers.